There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that? Okay.
Madam Attorney General, let me ask you this question. Were you consulted by the White House before they deployed National Guard troops to cities in the United States?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House.
You won't even say whether you talked to the White House about this?
I am not going to discuss any internal conversations with the White House with you, Ranking Member.
I noticed that. What's the secret? Why do you want to keep this secret? The American people don't know the rationale behind the deployment of National Guard troops in my state. The word is, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
I've been on this committee for more than 20 years. That's the kind of testimony you expect from this administration. A simple question as to whether or not they had a legal rationale for deploying National Guard troops becomes grounds for a personal attack. I think it's a legitimate question. It's my responsibility. She refuses to answer as to whether she had any conversation with the White House about deploying national troops to my state. That's an indication, I'm afraid, where we are politically in this place.
I'd like to know from you what conversations you've had with President Trump about the indictment of James Comey.
Senator, I am not going to discuss any conversations I have or have not had with the President of the United
States.
See that
post?
You're an attorney, you have a law degree, and you know that I'm not going to do that. I also find it fascinating, because I'll keep fighting to ensure that law enforcement and the judicial process move forward without political interference. No one is above the law, not even the president. That's a quote from you, Senator Blumenthal.
In the merger that took place.
Which merger? You've listed many.
Involving American Express GBT. I understand that Brian Ballard, longtime backer and head of the law firm where you worked, was instrumental in lobbying the Justice Department to drop that lawsuit. It was dismissed, so it's not subject to a court review. What conversations did you have with Mr. Ballard?
Senator Blumenthal, I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service.
I am
you
not
lied.
asking
You admitted you
I am
lied
not
to be
accusing you
elected
of
a U.S. senator.
impropriety.
You
I'm asking
lied.
you
How
about
dare you? I'm a
conversations
career prosecutor.
with Mr.
Don't you
Ballard,
ever challenge my integrity.
had
I have
apparently-
abided by every ethics standard. Do not question my ability to be fair and impartial as Attorney General and anything
You'll
with
answer that
my
question to
former
another of my
firm,
colleagues.
Ballard Partners.
Thank you.
When Senator Sheldon Whitehouse said, "Play the clip," the hearing shifted from argument to evidence, and for a few minutes, the room was forced to confront a single, unnerving question. Did the FBI actually catalog and assess every piece of evidence in the Epstein files, including photographs that witnesses say show powerful people with underage girls? What followed was not clarity or accountability. It was deflection, counterattacks, and a refusal to confirm whether essential leads had ever been fully pursued. Whitehouse played a clip of author Michael Wolff describing photographs Jeffrey Epstein allegedly showed him, images that could implicate people of immense power. That moment wasn't meant to sensationalize. It was meant to remind the Attorney General that oversight is about truth, not loyalty. Yet instead of addressing the question, Pam Bondi lashed out. She accused senators of making salacious remarks and tried to drag in irrelevant names to divert attention from the issue at hand. It was a textbook case of political evasion, a performance designed to protect the powerful, not inform the public. This is what makes the exchange so troubling. The Attorney General of the United States, the person responsible for upholding the law, refused to confirm or deny whether the FBI found evidence described by a known witness, and instead accused senators of partisan smears. When an official in charge of justice treats accountability as an attack, the system itself begins to rot from within, because justice depends on one thing above all: sunlight. Then came the second red flag, the question about National Guard deployments. Whitehouse and other senators wanted to know, did Bondi speak with the White House before troops were sent to American cities? It's a simple question, one with clear constitutional implications. If the executive branch is using state military resources without consultation or oversight, that's not governance. That's executive overreach. Yet again, Bondi refused to answer, hiding behind the phrase, "I won't discuss internal conversations." The refusal wasn't procedural, it was political. The people have a right to know when and why their military is deployed within their own borders. And when Senator Blumenthal pressed her further about conflicts of interest, Bondi didn't respond with facts or ethics. She exploded. She hurled personal insults, accusing him of lying about his military service. Not one piece of evidence, not one line of reasoning, just pure fury. That's not strength. That's a smokescreen, the kind officials use when they can't defend their record. These hearings are not theater. They're the last public line of defense for accountability in a government where power often shields itself from scrutiny. Bondi's behavior, dismissive, combative, evasive, was more than just unprofessional. It was emblematic of a deeper problem, a justice system where those in power act like the law doesn't apply to them. Every time a public official dodges questions about evidence, oversight weakens. Every time truth becomes optional, democracy loses a little more ground. So what should we take away from this moment? First, that transparency is not a partisan demand. It's the foundation of public trust. Second, that protecting the powerful at the expense of truth corrodes every institution it touches. And third, that we, the public, have a responsibility to keep pressing for answers, not for spectacle, but for justice. If you believe truth still matters more than loyalty, share this clip. Because when leaders refuse to answer, it's up to the people to keep asking. And the more we demand real transparency, the harder it becomes for anyone, no matter how connected, to hide behind power.